What is up, everybody? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Paige Clinton. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, grew up in Southern Illinois, but today I want to talk to you guys about results and your menstrual cycle. So, everybody's in the gym, you're working on your nutrition, you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to build muscle, but you also are going through your monthly menstrual cycle every single month, and that can drastically affect your results in health and fitness. And I think that a lot of people don't fully understand the impact that it has. And when you fully unlock that knowledge, you will reach a potential that you did not know that you could get to. So, a little bit about me. I am 30 years old. I have been in the health and fitness industry going on 13 years now. It'll be 13 years, I think, in October. I played sports my entire life. I played Division I softball at SIU Edwardsville, across the river here. And then I also competed in Olympic weightlifting post-college and a little bit during college for about 5 to 6 years. Consistently. I was training 25 hours a week. I was working with my own nutrition coach for up to 3 years. I have done almost every single diet that you can think of. I have done the carnivore diet. I have tried vegetarian. I have tracked my macros down to a T religiously for those 3 years. And for those of you who don't know, Olympic weightlifting is a weight class sport. So every 12 to 15 weeks or so, I would have to weigh in and get to a specific weight, but also be at peak performance, because then I would compete roughly 2 hours after weighing in. So this is where I really started to understand and have body awareness to make sure that I was hitting those goals, that I was performing at my best, but also making sure that I was hitting weight. So why is this all important? Today we're going to go over that. We're going to talk about that. We're going to put on our white coats. We're going to understand what is happening in your body during a menstrual cycle. Once you understand what is happening during that menstrual cycle, we'll talk about how you can optimize your training, how you can optimize your nutrition, and then once you know all of this, how do you get the most out of this information? So I hope you can take 1 to 2 things today from this and to apply this to your health and fitness journey to optimize your results and to get to where you want to be. So, from a hormone standpoint, men and women are kind of similarly built. We just have different parts, different hormones, and different patterns that these hormones go through. So, men go through what is called a circadian rhythm. That's probably one that you have heard the most about. It is a 24-hour hormonal cycle. Sometimes it gets referred to as when you go to bed, when you wake up from a natural standpoint. From a male perspective, their main hormone is going to be testosterone. So that is going to be the highest in the morning when they wake up, and then it's going to decline gradually throughout the day. This is going to allow men to have a consistent pattern when it comes to their hormones. So their mood, energy, focus, performance are going to be very consistent and pretty stable from a day-to-day basis. If they work out at the same time, if you eat the same things, you go to sleep at the same time, you wake up at the same time, all of this is going to allow you to have consistent results. You're going to build muscle, you're going to lose fat. And in the health and fitness industry, you hear all the time that, oh, men just lose weight better than women do, or men get better results. It just flies right off of them. They get stronger. That is the case, but that is because of how their hormone cycle works. If you look at the female side of things, we have a 28-day hormonal cycle. So that's going to be an infradian rhythm. So our main hormones are going to be estrogen and progesterone. We're also going to look at some LH and FSH hormones a little bit later. Those are not as important, but our main two are going to be estrogen and progesterone. And over the 28 days, those are going to rise and fall. So we don't have that 24-hour consistent pattern. We have a 28-day consistent pattern. And I would like to make note that every female is going to be different. Some people have a longer cycle. Some people are 28 days, 30 days, 35. maybe even 40, who knows? It could be less than 28 days, but on average, we're looking at that 28-day window. This is going to result in our energy, mood, metabolism, motivation, recovery, performance, all of that stuff to fluctuate from a week-to-week basis. So if you're anything like me, I will have weeks or 1 week where I'm like, heck yeah, I'm on top of it. I'm crushing it. I have so much energy. My workouts are awesome. My nutrition is on point. And then boom, the next week, man, I'm a little bit more tired. I'm having some cravings. My workouts are taking everything in me to get through, and I just don't feel as good as I did last week. And then some days you're like, I don't even want to go to the gym. I need dessert. What is going on? And so that is because your hormones are fluctuating from a week-to-week basis. It is not because you are not as strong-willed or compliant or you're not broken. I've heard all of these types of feelings, and I don't want to use the word excuses, but that's kind of what they are when you don't understand fully what's happening to you. You are not broken. This is how we are created as females, and I'm hoping today that you will understand that and how to combat that and live your life to the fullest, but then also get the best health and fitness results that you desire. So why is this so important? This is going to help maximize your training efficiency. You're going to know when you can push hard, when you feel good, what type of training to do. And then you're also going to know that when your energy is lower, why it's low, and then also focus on the recovery, focus on lower intensity exercises, and to know that that is okay. You are still on the track to get results. You're just maximizing your hormones and your energy and your body to continue moving forward in that journey. I'm also going to help you assess the potential injury risk. Hormonal shifts can affect that. Your joints are going to be a lot more unstable. I don't think that's the word I'm looking for. You're going to have issues with your joint stability. They're going to be a lot more flexible during certain periods of your cycle. We're also going to help you recognize some body awareness. So when you learn to listen to your body, you're going to understand that you don't always have to fight through the fatigue. It's not because you've been running ragged for weeks and taking your kids everywhere and staying up late and waking up early and trying to do all the things. This is because your body is naturally giving you less energy than it should. You could be doing the same thing day to day. You could be getting lots of good sleep, but you're still going to feel some level of fatigue. That is completely normal. So we're going to work on the body awareness. This is also going to help you enhance your adherence to your health and fitness journey. So a lot of times females get extremely frustrated because some weeks will be great, some weeks will be extremely not great. You're going to think that, man, I just can't do this anymore. I'm burnt out. I don't have any energy, or, this workout class is not for me. I don't think my trainer's doing a good job. I'm not meant to do these types of exercises. You name it, I have heard it. And it is not those things. It is just how you are feeling and where you are at within that 28-day cycle based on what's happening inside your body. We as females are very capable of doing anything and everything. And I hope that you take that from this and apply that to your everyday life. This is also going to help your mental health. Not only can your hormones impact your mood and your stress, but having awareness throughout your cycle of understanding why you feel so good and why you don't feel so good is going to make you feel more in control of your body and your choices, and ultimately make you feel a little bit more supported by yourself. I do know I've talked to a couple females in my everyday life, and when they are kind of in that point in their cycle where they're on their period or right before their period, and they're like, man, I don't even feel like myself. Who am I? And it's just because of our hormones. It's not because we're broken. It's not because something is wrong with us. It is truly how we are designed as humans. So, understanding a menstrual cycle, we are going to put our scientific white coats on and understand this from a science-based standpoint. So if you don't have this science level of education, that's okay. I just want you to be able to take 1 to 2 things from this to understand how to make your health and fitness journey a little bit better. So we are going to look at this 28-day cycle, our menstrual cycle, from two main phases, but it's actually going to be broken down into four. So four sub phases or two main ones. So the two main ones are going to be your follicular phase. That's going to be day 1 through day 13 of your cycle. And then the second main one is going to be your luteal phase. So day 15 through day 28. Your first sub phase is going to be that menstrual cycle that happens from day 1 to day 5. So your cycle, your 28 days, is going to start the first day that you start your period. Again, a period can be 3 days, it can be 7 days. Everybody is different, so make sure you take this with a little bit of a grain of salt and understand that these are not exact numbers. Once you get through your follicular phase on day 13, you have your ovulation day. That's day 14. That's the day that your egg gets released from your ovary and you are preparing to get pregnant, if that's what you're shooting for. If not, your body is still preparing you to do so in case you wanted to. And then lastly, we have our luteal phase, again, 15 through 28. There's really no sub-phases within this. So hormone-wise, what we're looking at primarily today is going to be your estrogen and progesterone. During the first half of your cycle is going to be your follicular phase. That is when your estrogen is going to be at its peak. It is the highest. Estrogen is our feel-good hormone. It's going to make us feel energetic. It's going to make us feel confident. And then in your luteal phase, the last half of your phase, or some people look at it as the first week or two before your period, you're going to have progesterone at its peak. This is going to cause brain fog. It's going to slow your energy down, and it's the not feel good hormone. So that is what we are going to dive into here real quick. So again, we're starting with the follicular phase. We're going to look at just day 1 through 5. So you are on your period right now. What is happening? Right, your uterus is shedding the thickened lining from your previous cycle because pregnancy did not happen. So your last 28-day cycle, on that ovulation day, you released that egg. You did not get pregnant, so now your body has to shed that uterine lining and go through this process all over again. Hormonally, what is happening in this moment? So your estrogen and progesterone are both low. Like you got no good, feel good hormone. Your progesterone is low, so ultimately you're just not feeling really great. Our FSH is going to be our follicle stimulating hormone. This is going to start to prepare the next egg for ovulation day. So you're letting go of that lining and you're preparing that egg. So your FSH hormone is actually rising at this point. Some of the symptoms that you might be feeling during this period is going to be low energy, not camping, it's actually cramping. Fatigue, mood change, you could have headache, discomfort, bloating, all of those things. There might be some on here that you experience. You might have some symptoms that are not on here. That is A-okay. Everybody's period can be a little different. So the second half of the follicular phase is going to be day 6 through day 13. You just finished your period. You're no longer bleeding. So your pituitary gland is releasing that FSH hormone, and it is stimulating the ovary to produce a follicle, right? That follicle is what turns into an egg and gets released coming up on day 14. So it is rebuilding. The uterine lining is rebuilding after you just shed it, and it is, again, preparing for a potential pregnancy. So hormonally, what is happening during this phase? Your estrogen is starting to rise. So it was low when you were on your period. It is now starting to rise, which means you're probably starting to feel better. Your uterine lining is thickening. You're preparing for ovulation. And your progesterone is low. So that not feel good hormone is low. Your estrogen, your feel good hormone is going up. Your symptoms are going to be increased energy. Maybe your skin starts to clear up. You don't have those pimples from being on your period anymore, and you have improved mood. You're like, wow, I'm starting to turn into a new human. Next phase, we're looking at just one day here. This could be 24, 48 hours, depending on you as a person. So here on day 14, you're going to have a surge in your luteinizing hormone. This is what causes your egg to be released from the ovary. And if you don't have LH, if your body's not producing that, you're not going to release that egg. So your LH is surging, it's going up to release the egg. Your progesterone is at it, or sorry, your estrogen, your feel good hormone, is at its peak. It is high. And your progesterone is low, but this is the day that it starts to rise, right? And then also, we as females do have testosterone in our body, and this is the day that there is a slight increase in testosterone. Another reason as to why we feel really good around this time. So, symptoms: very high energy, you have a lot more confidence, you're actually more coordinated. So, if you're a clumsy individual, this is going to be your most coordinated day of the month. So, celebrate while it is happening. But ultimately, this is going to be the day of your cycle where you feel your absolute best. It does not get any better than this day. Then we're looking at our luteal phase. So this is going to be another 2 weeks. This is day 15 through 28-ish. So you have just released that egg from your ovary. The follicle becomes the corpus luteum, which secretes progesterone. So remember, your progesterone was low at every other point in this cycle, but now that your follicle became the corpus luteum, it's turning into that egg. It is secreting the progesterone, which is causing it to rise in our body. So if there's no pregnancy, then that egg breaks down, hormones drop, and this triggers your menstrual cycle. So hormonally, through the luteal phase, your progesterone is the dominant hormone. So it is rising and it is going up. It is going to peak here in the luteal phase. Estrogen is going to rise slightly, but then it's going to fall drastically. So as your progesterone is going up and your estrogen is rising, you're starting to have a huge shift in your body on how you are feeling. This is when you start having PMS symptoms. You're bloated, you're irritable, you're having increased sugar cravings, you're extremely tired. You feel like your body needs more sleep than what it usually does. So looking at these hormones from a 4-phase view, what is going on? So day 1 through 5, your menstrual cycle, both estrogen and progesterone are low, right? Your estrogen is what makes you feel good. Your progesterone is what makes you tired and not feel good. Day 6 through 13 is the rest of your follicular phase. You have your high FSH, so you can prepare that follicle. And your estrogen is on the rise. It's going up. You're feeling better. You're off your period. Things are feeling much, much better. And your progesterone is still pretty low. Ovulation day, this is when you're going to feel your best. You have your peak estrogen. This is what's making you feel so good. And you also have that slight increase in testosterone. And then the last 2 weeks, your luteal phase, is when you have high progesterone, and then moderate estrogen levels or lower estrogen levels, depending on yourself as a person. So what happens when progesterone becomes high in our body? We actually increase our body temperature. So your thermogenic effect inside your body is higher. That's going to naturally make you burn anywhere from 200, 300, 400 calories more than what you would at any other point in your cycle. This is when you start to have increased cravings, more hunger levels. You feel like you can't control the amount you're eating, but that is because your body is burning more calories regardless of the activity change that you have had. So your cravings are not you not being able to control what you want to eat. This is your body saying, hey, I'm needing more calories than what I usually would because my body temperature is higher than normal because of that higher progesterone. So training during a cycle, how do you navigate your workouts through all of this? Now, if you go to a class style gym like Fit Body, F45, Orange Theory, they have their programming for you. It's probably going to be like strength focused 1 week, cardio focused the next week, maybe a classic mix of the two. That's going to be really hard to match to your cycle. But you can still take that information and go into the workout with the correct expectations. This doesn't mean you're not going to get results. If you're in a period where you're low energy, you're not feeling great, but you're about to go do a high cardio workout, that's okay. Your body is still gonna optimize and get really good results from that. It's just going to be harder for you to push through that workout, and that's okay. Menstrual phase, so day 1 through day 5, our energy levels low, 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 low. There's no type of training that is going to feel the best during this phase. We just got to get through it, right? So best training would be gentle movement. You could do yoga. You could go for lots of walks. You want to make sure you focus on your rest, recovery, a little bit of self-care. So our hormones are low, which means our confidence is probably going to be a little bit lower because we're not feeling as good. So make sure you're getting plenty of sleep, and you are focusing on you. So the rest of the follicular phase, right? Your period is over. You're not bleeding anymore. You're rising. Estrogen is going up, so your energy is going up. You're starting to feel a lot better. The best training during this period is going to be strength, high intensity exercise, maybe a little bit of endurance. Like I said, you're going to have more energy, so you're going to probably have a higher training capacity. You're going to be able to do more during this time frame. This would be a good time to maybe shoot for a couple PRs, maybe progress to some heavier weights if you're doing, 5 sets of 5, and you're wanting to bump up in weight. This would be a really great time for you to do so based on your hormones and how you are feeling. So ovulation day, day 14, our energy is at its highest. We are feeling the absolute best, a lot more pep in our steps. So this is where you're going to want to have power, sprints, super heavy lifts. So this would be another great PR day or time period. You want to work on your explosiveness, so your power, your jumping, your changing directions, stuff like that. Then the luteal phase, this is going to be the longest phase. Your energy is starting to fall. Now, it's not just going to drop off on day 15 and you're not going to feel like shit for 2 weeks, right? This is going to be a gradual decline. So that first week of the luteal phase, you're still probably feeling pretty good. It's just declining slowly at this moment. So the best type of training that you can do is you can start to taper off on your workouts. Maybe make them a little bit more moderate. Maybe you bump them up to like 8 reps and reduce some of the weight, right? You have a deload week, so maybe you stick with the same number of reps. So maybe I'm doing 5 reps of 5 still, but you decrease that weight, and then you add in some yoga, some mobility, still focusing on your recovery. And this is also the phase where nutrition is going to become the most important. Why? Because your body's core temperature is higher in the luteal phase because your progesterone is higher. And then also work on, again, some mobility, flexibility, and stuff like that. But this does not mean that the 2-week phase you have to go light on your workouts, right? Your progesterone, I said, is falling. So you can still have really great workouts for that first week or so before you notice a significant change in how you feel. Injury risk during a cycle. So how do these hormones play into our risk of injury? If you're working out on a regular basis, you're training every single day, whether it's going to the gym, doing your own workouts, or you're going to a class-style gym, you're working with a personal trainer, at some point you're going to experience some type of injury. It's going to be an overuse injury. It's going to be wow, I'm getting stiff. Maybe you're not stretching as much as you should be. Whatever it is, if you are working your body physically, there is never a point where you will not have some type of nagging pain, ache, or whatever. So during your menstrual phase, your risk of injury is really low. Your progesterone and estrogen is extremely low. Your tissues are stable. So that is going to be your least risk of energy. You also don't feel great and you don't want to do a whole lot. So that correlates. Then your follicular phase, day 6 through day 13, your risk of injury goes up just a hair. So you're kind of at a medium risk. Your strength is returning. And then your laxicity in your joints is starting to increase because your estrogen is rising. Your estrogen is going to correlate with the laxicity in your joints or the stability and flexibility that those joints have. So day 14, this ovulation day, this is when you feel your best. You should be working on that strength, explosiveness, but this is also when your injury risk is at its highest. You are doing the higher risk movements, so obviously you're going to be at a risk for injury there, but your body is also at a highest risk of injury because your ligament laxicity is high and your joint stability is low. That is because your estrogen is high and you have that luteinizing hormone surge to release the egg from your ovary. So you're doing high risk activity, but your body is also in a high risk zone. So a lot of studies were actually done primarily with athletes, some with teens, some with adults. The majority of non-contact injuries, so you're thinking ACL tear, a high percentage, it's over 50%, happen to individuals who are around the ovulation period of their cycle compared to the other phases. So studies are showing and correlating with this evidence that injuries are correlated with this part of your cycle. This does not mean that you should ignore doing these high risk movements during this time period. This just means that you need to focus on your form, focus more on putting quality reps in, maybe versus heavy reps, right? Get confident at those moderate weights before you bump up super heavy. Form. That is what is super important during this period. Then we're looking at our luteal phase. Your risk of injury goes back down to that medium. Your progesterone is rising, right? And your estrogen is lowering. So because the progesterone is going up, you're actually having poorer reaction time, poorer coordination, and higher fatigue because your progesterone is your I don't feel good hormone. Slows you down, gives you brain fog. Things just aren't functioning like they should be. So this is why you're still at a medium risk for injury, because you do have poorer reaction time than you would. That's why you're not working on explosiveness and sprinting and those types of movements during this period. So this is an overall view of where your injury risk is going to come throughout your 28-day cycle. When you're on your period, it's low. The week after that, you kind of bump up to a medium risk. The ovulation period, that 24 to 48 hour period, you are at its highest, but then you drop back down to a medium risk, back down in the luteal phase. So nutrition during a cycle. How do you navigate this? So again, we have it broken up into our 4 sub-phases here. The menstrual cycle, day 1 through 5, you're obviously bleeding, so you want to have high iron foods, right? You also want to increase your hydration, so water, and then you'll have a lot of inflammation in the body. So you want to focus on some anti-inflammatory foods. That's going to be that's going to help if you add in your magnesium, right? Your vitamins and nutrients and minerals. All those foods that have high nutrients are going to be helpful with the anti-inflammatory. Because you are bleeding, you want to make sure maybe you supplement with some iron, right? Your hormones are low, so you're struggling with your energy. That's where your B complex will come in. And your magnesium is going to help with recovery, which is what you are focusing on at this moment. Also, your omega-3 fatty acids. Fats also regulate hormones inside the female body, so this is going to be helpful for making sure that those hormones are moving the way they should. Follicular phase, day 6 through 13, you are no longer bleeding. Your estrogen is starting to rise, so you're starting to feel better. You're focusing on that strength work, building up to some progressions, maybe shooting for some PRs. So you want to have high protein foods. You want to make sure that you're having healthy carbs, and then estrogen supporting foods. So your body is on the rise, your estrogen is on the rise, it's going up, so you want to make sure that you're eating foods that are supporting the rise of your estrogen, because that is what is happening in your body. So vitamin D is going to be crucial here, and also creatine. So creatine is going to be found in a lot of proteins. You can also supplement with protein. You're working on your strength at this period of your cycle, so creatine is going to help you build muscle. It's going to help you recover better and be able to compound on those workouts throughout that entire week. So day 14, you're ovulating. What do you want to focus on here? Again, anti-inflammatory foods. Your body is preparing to release that egg from the ovary. Make sure you focus on your hydration and your lean protein, still coming off of the follicular phase here. So zinc is a good supplement here. B6, those are going to help with energy, and then also your collagen. So collagen is going to help with your joints. And again, during this phase, you're working on power, you're working on explosiveness, you're probably doing a lot of exercises that are going to have some high impact on your joints, and that collagen is going to help reduce inflammation. It's going to help put some laxity, help the laxity in those joints to help them recover better. Then you look at your luteal phase. This is when our progesterone is getting higher, so the thermogenic effect in your body is higher, so your temperature is higher, so you're burning 2 to 3, maybe 400 calories more than what you would on the other weeks of your cycle. So because you are hungrier, your body is like, hey, I need some more food. Maybe this is when you add in some more complex carbs. This is going to be like your rice, your potatoes. I'm a huge proponent of natural foods. So I do like potatoes, sweet potatoes, however you want to add them in. Magnesium-rich food, calcium-rich foods, stuff like that. You want to get as many nutrients during this phase as you can, because your body is on that decline, because your estrogen is declining and your progesterone is rising. So again, magnesium, B6, some calcium, probiotics. This is the phase where you should put more emphasis on your nutrition. You want to make sure that you're eating enough calories, because if you're sitting here trying to lose weight, you're in a calorie deficit for the entire cycle. Once you get to this point in the cycle, this is probably the week or the phase where you're struggling with compliance. You're wanting to cheat, quote unquote cheat, on your diet a little bit. You're wanting to eat the foods that you shouldn't, but that is because your body is burning more calories. So you can stick to that same calorie number that you've been working on with your coach, and know that mentally you have to stay on track, because you are actually burning more calories and you're getting the results that you have been working so hard for during this phase. But it's all about being able to stay on track. If you are really struggling, maybe you add in a refeed day. Maybe you increase your calories by 100 to 200 calories, per day for a couple days to make yourself feel a little bit better. You're still supplementing those extra calories with good, nutritious food. So you're not lapsing and going out and getting a dessert or eating a pizza or eating something that's extremely high in calories. So knowledge is going to be power here. So hopefully you have learned a little bit of something that you can take and apply to your everyday life. What can you do with this information? Well, the first step I would recommend is to track your period. You can do this through smartphone apps. A lot of watches allow you to track your period. So I track mine. I have a Garmin watch. I just put it into my Garmin app so that I can see. It tells me my period. It tells me when my next one's going to be, and it also tells me my ovulating window, which is usually correlated to the time where I feel my best. And I will say it's pretty on par. I would also journal your symptoms and how you feel throughout different phases of your cycle. So if you're on your period, put day 1 through 5. What are your symptoms? Are you low energy? Are you low everything? Do you just not want to do anything? How are your workouts going? So journal your workouts through these periods. And do that throughout the 28 days, because you're really going to learn your body the best by journaling and reviewing these things and having this happen over and over and over. A lot of times we just go through life and we have our period and we're like, yes, I'm off, I got a couple more weeks. And then you go through life, you go through that up and down roller coaster, and then boom, you have another period. But we really don't put a lot of energy and effort into recognizing how we feel through that 28-day cycle, because a lot of it is pretty miserable, I will say that. Also, customize your nutrition. So focus on, high protein, lean proteins during the time period that you need to increase that hydration. Add in some creatine. Creatine is good for the brain. It'll make you feel better. It'll help you maybe think a little bit clearer during the times when your progesterone is a little higher. Talk to your nutrition coach. Maybe you increase your calories during that week that your progesterone is higher because your body temperature is higher. You're burning more calories, but in order to have that conversation with your coach, you have to have data. You have to know where you're at in your cycle. You have to confirm, this is why I'm experiencing more hunger. And then they will also be able to help you stay a little bit more accountable to the plan that you guys have set into place, because this is not, you falling off the wagon. This is your body doing what it is built to do, and it is challenging you, right? It's testing you almost, and you just have to be able to overcome that test, overcome that challenge, and knowing where you're at in your cycle, and knowing that this week is even coming up, right? You might be the week before, you're like, crap, next week this is how I'm going to feel. This is going to allow you to plan and prepare for that moment where all you want to do is order out because you don't have any motivation to cook, right? So knowing what's coming is going to be extremely helpful. And like I said, number 5, data. The more data you can have on your body, the more you know how you feel, what your symptoms are, how they affect your workouts, how they affect your nutrition, is going to help you tremendously in getting results. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing to get results is consistency. It's not being diligent for 6 weeks at a time trying to lose a pound a week. It's not, going to the gym hard for 2 months and then taking a month off. This is something you want to be able to integrate into your everyday life, because consistency over time is going to give you the results that you're looking for, but also allow you to keep those results for a lifetime, because we don't want you to lose a bunch of weight or to gain a bunch of strength to just lose that and backtrack a little bit. So what is the impact you're going to have of cycle aware training? It's going to increase your adherence because you're going to have more knowledge. You're going to have more confidence in yourself, even during those periods where your hormones might be testing that confidence. It's going to enhance your trust within yourself. It's also going to enhance your trust within your training plan, your nutrition plan. You're going to trust it more because you know what your body is doing. 3, it's going to promote body awareness and mental resilience. So the more you know about your body, you know what's coming up, you know what to expect, and you're not going to blame yourself for those things. It's going to allow you to be a little bit more mentally resilient. And ultimately, it's going to increase your confidence and help you set more expectations throughout that 28 days. Like we talked about in the beginning, men are stable from a 24-hour period. They go through that same thing every single day. So we are going through this from a week-to-week basis. Think about all the things that you've done in the last 28 days, the trips to the grocery store, everywhere you've taken your kids. Like, you've done so much and so much has happened. So it's easy to not keep track of this and to just go throughout life thinking, man, how do I feel today? But if you were to know, I'm going to feel like this next week, you can prepare for that. And that's going to help tremendously. Doing this has absolutely changed my life. I use this as an example when I did this presentation with our coaches. And Mike, my business partner, he likes to chip away at stuff day by day. So if we have a big project that we have to do, he'll do 30 minutes Monday, 30 minutes Tuesday, and so on throughout the week. I am not like that. I like to grind some stuff out. I'll sit down, I'll work on a project for 2 to 3 hours, and then if I'm not doing as good, I'll step back and then I'll come back to it another day. But sometimes I have to really go to work and really push myself when my energy is high, and then when my energy is low because my progesterone is high and my estrogen is low, and I can recognize that in myself, then I have been giving myself a little bit more grace. I'm not pushing myself as hard with work. I'm not pushing myself as hard during my workouts. I'm allowing myself to have more rest. I'm allowing myself to take it easier during the workouts. And mentally, this has been a game changer for me. So thank you for listening. I hope that you guys have taken something from this. You should have a PDF with a breakdown of some of this information. Again, the best thing that you can do is track your cycle, track your period. It might take a couple months to really get a feel for it, to gather that data and to understand how you feel. But if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Please let me know. I would love to help you navigating through your cycle and getting those health and fitness results that you're looking for.